Let's see if I can fit a little USA inside this video here. There we go. It's just a little bit more USA, just a smidge. What's going on, guys? This is Burrs. I want to talk to you today about the Glock Modification series. You saw me in the past do another video series which turned out to be a home defense Glock, which I use now. And now I'm going to do one Glock Modification in regard to concealed carry, something that would lend itself more to that. So what I'm going to do is take this Glock 19 that I've had for a while. You can see a good amount of wear all over it. I do have a set of Haley Strategic. This is their 13 sights. You can see the front there I painted with just a little bit of nail polish, bumping the camera like a professional. Got a little nail polish on the front there, just so a little green, neon green, so you can focus on the front sight. I like these Haley Strategic 13 sights. Unfortunately, they're not suppressor height sights. So let's talk about what I'm actually going to do with this Glock 19. Since I went over to my buddy Nate Murr's house and saw that he had a Glock 19 that had an RMR on the top, and I used it, I really fell in love with the setup. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I had an RMR, as you guys know from previous videos. I had an RMR on my SPR rifle for short range shooting on that rifle. So what I did was I took it off, and I'm going to go ahead and use it on this Glock 19 right here. This is the RM01. It's the non-adjustable. But it's going to work perfectly fine on top of the Glock 19 here. Then what I'm going to do is take out the stock barrel and put in this Wilson Combat barrel right here. As you've seen in the 1911 videos I've made in the past, I have used a good amount of Wilson Combat stuff, and I've really come to enjoy it. They make really good stuff, and honestly, thinking back on it, I can't remember one Wilson thing I've purchased that hasn't really worked out for me. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this barrel on the build. And since I'm using the RMR, I'm going to have to use suppressor height sights to get a good co-witness. So I'm going to use Heine Specialty products. You guys have seen these on all my guns except for this one where I've used the straight 8 sights. Same thing here, and these are just suppressor height. As far as the magwell goes, I'm going to go ahead and use this Agency Arms. I like that it's slender, pretty low profile, and it barely weighs anything. So I'm going to add that on to the gun on the bottom here. I'm going to send this off to Light Fighter Innovations. You've seen a previous video I've done where I screwed up a stipple job on a Glock. I sent it off to Chris over there at Light Fighter Innovations, and he cleaned it up and did a kick-ass job. I reached out to him. He has a new stipple pattern, which he calls sprinkles. I guess everything's better with sprinkles. So I'm going to go ahead and have him go over the gun, do it the way I want it, but he's going to do that new stipple pattern on it. Then he'll blend in the magwell. As far as the trigger goes, I saw this tier trigger by SSVI, and I like the fact that it uses everything stock. The only difference is the trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that into the build once I get back from Chris doing a stipple job. I'm going to throw this trigger in and give it a ride and see what I think of it. A lot of good things I've seen on the internet about it though. Now, as I alluded to earlier, I'm going to have an RMR on here, which means I'm going to have somebody bed in the RMR and do some machine work or do some slide work on here. So I'm going to send this off to Jaegerworks. They're one of the better people in the industry, I believe, doing slide work. They're going to add some serrations on the front as well, do some slide work to this for me. They're going to do some porting and stuff. In the past, I've done a lot of research on it, and you're adding a little bit of weight with the RMR. So taking a little bit of weight off is going to be a beneficial thing to kind of keep the slide weight the same. And some people might argue that if you take slide weight off the front and put it on the rear, you're going to have muzzle flip, etc. But tons and tons of different people I've seen, do that to their gun, and they have no issue whatsoever. So I'm not worried about it whatsoever. And then as far as carrying the gun, I found this really cool holster from Sheriff of Baghdad. This is their deep conceal holster. Basically just put it in there and you're good to go. You don't really need anything around the gun except for the only thing you want to cover up is your trigger guard, and then you can see here they have the bottom here covered because he says you don't want to have stuff get into your muzzle. I totally agree with that, and it's going to work with the RMR because there's nothing back here. It's very minimalist. I've been using it for the past week. Really like it a lot, and that's what I'm going to be using for this concealed carry Glock Modification series. So in the interest of your viewer pleasure, I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like right now. I didn't snap very loud. It didn't work as well as I thought. So I'm going to show it to you right now. Boom! Look at that. All done. Doesn't it look glorious? Doesn't it look amazing? It's a fucking unicorn. So let's talk real quick about what was done to this, and we'll go over it one item at a time and you can see it in real time. First off, Agency Arms magwell. I have used the Raven Concealment magwell in the past. I went ahead and used the Agency Arms for this one, trying it out. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more minimalist, so we'll see how that works out. Had the framework done, like I said, by Light Fighter Innovations. As you can see here, that is their sprinkle pattern. It's a little bit more aggressive than their normal pattern. Their normal pattern is something like this right here. Like what you would see on most stipple jobs, is just a dot, if you will. This is their sprinkle pattern. Really cool. Really like it. It feels good in the hand. You can see the framework done here. The magwell, the mag release area right here was hollowed out a little bit. Better purchase on that mag release. We got the underguard here done, stippling on the bottom of that as well. And I had them do something that I haven't had done before. Usually I'll just go ahead and stipple the thumb support area. Instead they put here just a thumb rest, thumb support. So when you have the gun out here, you push down to get downward pressure to fight or to mitigate muzzle rise when you're shooting. And like I said, I've never had that done before, but I really do like that, and feeling this one out when I got it back. So I'm really excited to get out and get shooting with it. As you can see, there's a different barrel in here. That's a Wilson Combat barrel. We're gonna be testing that out along the way. I have a SSVI tier trigger. Really good trigger. You can see the reset here. Real, not a lot of take up. And the cool thing about this trigger is the fact that the only thing you change is this trigger. Nothing's changed up in here, just the trigger. And it does feel a lot better than the stock trigger that you'd have with any Glock. As you can see here, we have an RMR, and I have, as you know, with all my other guns, I have Heine straight 8 sights, and they actually make suppressor height now, straight 8 sights. So I have the suppressor height ones on here, and then the RMR. That's all in part thanks to Jaegerworks. They did the slide work on this. They got the serrations up front, the windows on the top and the sides, and they put the RMR in here with bedding it in and cutting that into the rear of the slide. So we're gonna be testing that out. It is awesome to have some front slide serrations. I know Glock came out with them recently in a limited run here in the summertime. And I guess you're gonna probably see how that works with people buying them if they're more interested in those. I'm gonna say yes. You know, what these front slide serrations do, and a lot of people will kind of be like, oh, why do you really need those? You come over the top, you can do your press checks, you know, all kinds of stuff, one-handed manipulations, etc. So they do come in handy. Even if you don't get the windows, you don't have to get the windows. If you don't want those, you can still get the front slide serrations, and that's a huge upgrade over a stock Glock. So now all there is to it is taking it, sighting it in, which I'm gonna do real soon, feeling it out, and putting thousands of rounds through it before I give you a review on how everything's holding up. So if you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. If you guys have had work done by Jaegerworks, Light Fighter Innovations, if you have a SSVI trigger or an RMR or Heine straight 8 sights, go ahead and put in the comments down below how that stuff's working out for you, and what your setup is, if you guys run RMRs, and what you found to be the best setup for you. Or better yet, make a video about it. And until next time, later.